guest today is Michaeltracysongwriter. He is on the platform on TikTok. He makes some really cool videos. He writes songs, original stuff. He does all kinds of things. He's a really cool guy. And we're going to talk because, you know, this is the chat part and we're going to chill. Hopefully he's going to sing for us a few songs because this is called the Chat and Chill Show. All right, here we go. I'm going to bring you up, Michael. Here we go. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes, everyone. Yes, he's here, but I don't see you yet.
Am I here yet?
I hear you, but I can't see you. How about everybody in the chat? Can you see him, or is it just me?
Well, I'm trying to put the video thing on here. I don't know why it's, hold on a second. My settings, my video thing keeps popping up as negative.
Okay, so they're saying in the chat they can hear you, but they can't. Oh, there you are. There he is. Yay! Oh, this has been an interesting thing trying. Oh, but he's gone.
Oh, shit.
But he's back. There you go. He's back again.
Clap again.
This has been a really hard scheduling because between your schedule and my schedules, we were like,
yeah,
we finally made it. We finally made it. But the first question I ask everyone on the show is, what time zone are you in?
I'm in Eastern Standard Time, so it's 12:30.
It's 12:30 for him. He's in Eastern Standard Time. And I say that because people who do come to, usually we have more than this, but yeah, the TikTok's been doing that stuff lately. Usually people, they're from all over the world. So that's kind of a standing joke when we ask what time zone, because when I first started doing this, I'm like, I only knew Central Standard in the States. Like I knew what Eastern was. I knew what, I knew those things. But I've had to learn all kinds of time zones. So
right.
Yeah, I've learned that we're just a little speck in the world. You know,
that's part of being on the internet. You got people from all over.
You get to meet everyone from all over the place. Yep. And so, like first things first. How long have you been on TikTok?
It was February of last year, so about a year and a half, I guess.
About a year and a half. Okay.
Yep.
So you make some really cool videos out there, and
I try.
I'm just gonna, he does where he's singing. He'll use his own music. Sometimes he does some silly. Sometimes he does serious stuff. Sometimes you tell us about gigs. So this summer, did you do a lot of gigs this summer? Were you on the road?
Yeah. I played a lot. I did the big thing I did that took up a lot of my time was I did 3 separate residencies up at Cedar Point in Ohio. At the amusement park there. And I've been doing those for the last couple of years. So I think they told me when I got done with it this summer that I did 150 sets this summer with them. Wow. So yeah. But then obviously all my other stuff, but just with them this summer, I did 150 sets of music with them.
Well, I know you were scheduled to be on the show, and then I think you had jury duty or something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, for the first time.
Is that what it was? Okay. Well, you know that duty. Yep. And everybody just.
I did get picked.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So then you had that, and then we rescheduled again, and then my dad literally broke his back, right. And so we had all that drama, and I'm like, I hate to do this, but I can't do the show,
right? Because
it's in the daytime. And when you go to the hospitals and stuff, it's during the day, right? So, and I'm like, okay, can you do it again? Do you do it again? And he's like, yeah, I can do October 12th. And I'm like, okay. Then the other day, I'm like, I hope he remembers.
You probably were hoping, because I haven't actually been posting much the last few weeks.
Yeah, because I'm like, is something up?
Yeah, I thought about that. And plus I responded to your email yesterday, but for some reason, sometimes when I respond to emails on phone, they won't send, and then I'll realize, it didn't send. That's, but I
had that problem with Discord earlier.
Yeah, I thought about it. I thought, I haven't really been, the last few weeks I've just been, just sometimes I like to take a little break, and I've had things going on. So, every once in a while I just, when I'm pumping out videos, I'll pump out 2 to 4 a day, but I like to take a little break.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I heard something. Thank you, Cousin Homer. I heard that. Now, I wanna play a little sampling of a song he wrote. That's how we met here on TikTok, because we have friends of friends, and that's how we did this. So, oh, thank you. I hear the goal. I heard the goal. Thank you. I heard it popped in my ear. All right, but I gotta play this. Okay.
Hello, you. How you been? I've been counting yesterday, smoking purple haze with gin. How about you?
That song bite has been on TikTok, and it's been used. I think I read somewhere like over 800 times or so. Like
Yeah.
it's
I
been
haven't checked it in a long time because
a lot.
I got tired of doing it, so I slowed down.
I know you probably did, but I didn't get tired of listening to it.
Right.
Hello, hi, how you been? And in fact, that's how I refer to the song, "Hello, how you been?" And it's
Right.
really called "The Lost Year," correct?
That's right. That's right.
So, and that's a song that you've done. You've done many songs, but let's talk about like I can only find two right now on Apple, because you have something called the VIP Club. What is
Right.
that?
I just recently took all my songs off the streaming sites. So
Yes.
Spotify, Apple. I left one.
Yes.
There's one song available, and it's Poinsettia Red, and
Yes.
it's because it's a Christmas song of mine, and so people can stay in. Plus, I didn't want to lose my artist profiles on those platforms in case I
Right.
ever go back on them, because if it ever
Yeah,
makes
you never
sense.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I took everything down from the streaming. I mean, yes, it's on iTunes and places where people can buy it. But what I did was, I mean, I've been struggling with these streaming platforms and
Yeah.
for years, actually, just like what, I mean, and it just got to a point where it just didn't make sense to be on those things. There's nothing to win. It's like playing 3-card Monte.
Yeah.
Even if you win,
Yeah.
even if you, the only way an indie artist is going to get a ton of streams on there really is that you get on some massive playlist, some big Spotify
Right.
playlist or what have you. And even then, I mean, so let's say you do all that work and jump all their hoops and play in their algorithm game and do everything, and you get yourself on a list and you get 1 million streams. That's like worth several $100s or I should say that 1 million streams, probably a couple thousand.
Yeah.
But in other words, it's not worth it. And so, and you got to create a place, you got to make it so that people that actually do like your music and want to listen to it, the type of people that would purchase it, whether, that would buy it, or they would come join my VIP club, which is kind of a Patreon type thing, to do it. I mean, I know myself that I've had just this past year, I'll have like singles or songs that artists will release, and I'll love them to death, that song, and I'll play it. I mean, the most recent one was White Horse by Stapleton. And I must have streamed that thing every day. I'd play that thing 4 or 5 times a day, and for a couple of weeks, because that's how much I loved the song.
Mm-hmm.
Had the only way I could have got that song was to pay $1.50 or $1.25 or whatever it is to download it from iTunes, I would have done it.
Right.
Because that's, the song, I loved it. It touched, and this kind of stuff. But it was being, I didn't have to, because it was on Spotify to stream. So if you put it in this context where, so Chris Stapleton releases a song, and he gets a fan, me. He gets someone that loves that song so much so that they're going to stream it all, every day for a few weeks. And really, I'm a big fan of the song. You couldn't be any bigger of the song. And yet, how many streams am I going to do in total? Not even 100, probably. Let's say it's 100 streams. Well, Chris Stapleton, from, you work hard as an artist to make music and gain people that really love what you do. But then all of a sudden, and he got one, me, but he's getting a penny from me. He's getting a few pennies from me,
Right.
And so all of this just doesn't make sense when you throw in, these streaming services don't make a profit themselves. So, it ain't like royalty rates are going to go up anytime soon or anything. Plus, it takes an act of Congress anyway when it comes to the royalty rates. So it seemed to me that the best thing to do is just kind of create some scarcity with your music, and it was a hard decision because obviously you're doing something that nobody's doing. Everyone's caved to the streaming platforms, and everyone's caved to that model, and of course the big artists and the big labels, they have a different business model though. I mean, Sony Music, I mean, the three major labels, first of all, they own 30% of Spotify, so they're shareholders, they're major shareholders.
Yeah.
And then second of all, they own all of the music of the last 50 years. They own those songs, they own those catalogs. And so, for instance, let's say it's AC/DC Back in Black, that album.
Yeah, classic. Nobody's
going to buy it today. Nobody's actually going to go buy it. It's run its cycle, right? They sold millions of them, they get downloads and all of that stuff. I mean, all of that has already occurred. But because they're a major label and it's AC/DC, they can get that song in every single classic rock playlist on Spotify. So they'll get millions and millions of streams, right? And that money, even though it's not the type of money they would need if it was a new artist they're investing in, that's just extra money. That's money they would have never, ever made on those songs. Because because the song's 40 years old and no one's buying it today, really. Yeah. So to have that streaming is money, is revenues for them they would have never seen before. And they're getting most of those revenues, not the actual artists in those situations.
Yeah.
So there's a business model for them, but even for them, it makes no sense when they release a new artist's music because, they're not made. That's why they sign 360 contracts with these artists. They got their hands in their live and their merch and their all these other things, because if you put out new music, and even if it gets streamed millions of times, that does not get the return on the actual product of music. In other words, it's got to be made up somewhere else, live, merch, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And so it's kind of, I relate it to what you see going on with the movie streaming right now. Netflix and Prime and those things. If you remember, a lot of what they did was just have older movies or older stuff, stuff that had already run the cycle of the movie theater and the rentals and things like that. And, so when they stream those movies or you watch them on ABC or whatever, they got a license to do that. And it's extra money they would have never made. In other words, that's money coming in for that movie from 10 years ago or 20 years ago. That's just excess money because they've already run the business cycle of you buying a ticket to go see it at a theater and all that kind of stuff. However, they're in trouble too when it comes to, especially in COVID, it got sped up and all the new content that comes out. They're not making, that's why you see the strikes with the writers and the actors and all of this kind of stuff, is because you can't earn the same revenues from just streaming new product. And also now you're in cahoots with tech companies who don't give you any information. That's what a lot of what the the movie industry complains about. They don't know how well they did on Netflix. They don't have any information. Same with an artist. I mean, if I had 1 million streams on Spotify, I still wouldn't know who these people were. I wouldn't be able to follow up with them. I wouldn't know who they were. Spotify knows who they are, but they aren't going to give me that information.
Yeah, they know everything. Yeah.
So I decided to, back to your original question, was finally just, especially since I'm going to be coming out with new music over the next year and a new project, I just decided that I wasn't going to go this route anymore. It just doesn't make sense, and just roll the dice with. The social media and the Spotify, they feed a lot off of just your ego and your vanity. In other words, they give you lots of metrics. Here, you got this many likes or this many views. Same with Spotify, you got 1 million streams. Wonderful. I didn't make no money, and I don't know who these people are. So they really move in those vanity metrics.
Oh yeah, and it's here on this platform as well.
Exactly.
How many? whatever, and because people will ask me, "Did you make any money?" No.
That's right.
But,
That's right.
It's
And for me, I mean, I don't know the younger artists. I mean, if you're a 18, 19-year-old and your audience is 18, 19-year-olds, I don't know how you ever convince them to pay for your music, because they haven't paid for music since they were since they were born.
Right. And
However, my audience,
and they weren't paying for it then. Their mom and daddy were paying
for
it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in other words, they just
there's that.
They've always streamed. And so, but obviously my audience is older. They come from a day where you can kind of explain these things a little bit to them, and they understand it a bit better. You can talk to them like adults. And so I just decided to do that. And honestly, I should be, I've dropped the ball and not pushing as much as I should in a few weeks, but even the people that I've gained, I've done this $20 where you can pay $20 one time and you got a lifetime membership.
Not a month.
So you get all my back catalog, and I have 4 albums. So you're getting 4 albums that you can download, and then you're going to get all the future stuff. And then I got some discount on merch and things.
And then you get the more of
but
the
then the only thing, and this even drives me nuts, is PayPal takes $1.
Oh, everybody's taking something from you.
Someone's taking something,
Yeah.
I'd rather people just Venmo me. But yes, then I'm keeping, so the money's mine. And the reason I do have it like Patreon, where you could do $5 a month type of thing. And I don't use Patreon because my website's set up with just the same thing. I don't understand why I would give Patreon 10% or 15% or whatever the hell they charge. So it's all about cutting out the middlemen. And at the end of the day, when someone, and also the $20 thing, I've pushed that because now I'm raising, it's kind of like Kickstarter. I'm also raising money to record music. And so I'd rather people, the funds come in faster if you're doing the $20. So there's an incentive for me to want people to do $20 versus $5 a month at this right now, but at the end of the day, the person that gives me $20, they would have never streamed. Obviously they're a real fan. You wouldn't have opened up your wallet. Obviously there's something about a song or my music or anything, you decided to open up your wallet and spend money. And not only now did we make a financial transaction with each other that I feel and is a fair one between us. I know who you are. I know where you live. I have your email. I can build off this. I can go, oh, you're in, we talked about how everyone on the internet's from everywhere.
Oh, well, they're from all over.
That's the difference also than when you're just building up your local band and your local scene. You can build up and everyone's in town. Where, I could have a couple of really big fans in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but I can't go play in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, just because I have 2 people who like me. So you kind of build off of that and then try to, but at least I know there's 2 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Now, can I get it to 5? Can I get it to 10? Should I target Cedar Rapids? All these kinds of things. Right. So it's just a bazillion times better way to go. I mean, obviously that means you got to do the work. Obviously, the moment and that's with all of this in today's, no artists are really looking and trying to get signed anymore. That's not the business model you're even working on. So, but that means, you wear all the hats and you have to do everything, and you have to, I think a lot of the artists of the future are just going to be those ones that they're marketing savvy, they're business savvy, their ability to communicate on a platform like this. Those skills are just going to be necessary to, have success in the business. They already are, if you're an artist or you're a band or anything right now, and there's a ton of them. I mean, I know a ton just in my town, and they won't get on TikTok and they won't get on Reels and they won't do what we're doing right here and make those videos. Because the front man is just uncomfortable with doing this and doesn't want to do this. Well, that's fine. But, it's the front man has always had the job of being the person that the music goes through for the listener. The front man's always had to on stage have certain qualities, or in the MTV era, able to go on, do a music video and connect with an audience. This is just a new format, but it's always been to me music something that's kind of necessary to build an audience.
I
know I answered your question for 15 minutes there.
You did. Well, and it's okay. It's okay, because I have known a lot of musicians here now, an artist on TikTok, and they're saying some of the same things you're saying, where these big streaming companies are just like giving you guys like nothing, and yet it's your talent, it's your work, it's your things that you're doing, and you're not getting the credit for it.
Yeah,
and that includes this.
That's
you
right.
know, and yeah, and so I want to know if I wanted to join VIP Club,
right?
Because I was going to do it, and I'm like, I'm going to wait until he's on the show because I'm
right. Right.
I'm going right to the horse's mouth here.
Right.
How do I do that? Because we're going to have you play here in a minute, so they know.
So it's on my website essentially, but if you're on TikTok here, if you go to my profile, you know, there's one of those link trees, and it'll take you through the process. Essentially, though, you just go, you know, there's a VIP tab on my website, Michael-Tracy.com, and it's set up so that if you do because the system that I use is set up to do like Patreon. So if you do the $5 a month, it's immediate where you're in the VIP club. When you do the $20 one, I had to set it up so you paid $20. But now I have to do something to get you in there. I have to actually, so it might take an hour or two if I'm not at a computer.
You know?
Yeah, so the only difference is when you do the $20 one, I have to do a process to give you the free membership into the thing, and you get an email and all this kind of stuff. But that's how you do it. You go on my website.
you know, you got me thinking. I remember the days where, you know, albums and CDs and stuff, and you would buy an album or a CD just for a couple songs, and the rest of them were like, whatever. Right. And you would spend $5 or more. I mean,
well, that's way back in the day. I mean, in the height,
we're going back in the day, because you know I'm vintage.
Right.
I'm vintage. So, you know, I'm a senior Gen Xer.
Right.
So I'm at the top end of it.
Right.
So I remember $5-10 you would spend easily to get you know, unless, you know, your mother was cheap and made you buy 45s because, you know.
Well, and think about, and think about that relationship though. When we were young and bought music, you couldn't buy everything. You had to make a choice of which artists were the ones.
Which artist
that you wanted that album.
Song I really like.
That's right.
Because
you only could buy, maybe you would only actually buy when you're a kid, maybe 10 a year. I mean, that's all you could afford.
Because whatever you could afford, whatever.
So everything else got heard on the radio if you liked it, or your friends had the album and you'd hear it. But in other words, there was scarcity for yourself, right? And that's how you became big fans of those bands, because you played those records and listened to all 12 songs on them. And so all the deep cuts and everything. So that's why these bands are doing so well live now. You know all these songs. They didn't have to be just the radio hits. So totally different format of doing music. And I think it works both ways. I didn't expect this, but what I've noticed is that all of a sudden, even though it's not very many people yet, I feel an obligation to the people that are in my VIP club. Right? Yeah. First and foremost, I feel an obligation to them as an artist now, because they've opened up their wallet, they've spent money. I got to assume that they want to hear new music from me. I've got to assume they'd love for me to find a way to come to their town and play live. I got to make that assumption. They've spent money, you know? And so you feel very obligated now to focus on those people, to give them what they want. And so that keeps you going. I mean, it's hard to explain a little bit, but there's just a different relationship that's happening when a proper financial transaction is being made.
I noticed that there are a lot of content creators, artists particularly, who are like, hey, don't send me the gifts anymore. Just Venmo, Cash App, whatever. You want to give, I have a tip jar, so to say. And because, again, the platform takes so much.
That's
from that.
Half of it.
and you know, and there's all of that, because it's always about this, you know, it's all about the money.
I mean, the biggest part, you got to build that trust with your audience, right? So, I mean, I didn't, until I did this VIP club, I mean, if you've been following me for a while, I really wasn't trying to sell anything, you know? I mean, I wasn't posting videos about come buy my song, you know, whatever. I wasn't even trying to get you to Spotify or anything. I was just providing the product. Because you got to have a trust factor, right? I mean, people don't want to send you money until they trust that, oh, this guy
yeah,
for the long run. It's not like he's just taking my $20 and you know.
There's some shady stuff out here. You're right. It's got to
be trust. And then you step it one further, because I agree with you. I'm thinking about making videos about this VIP club and say, listen, just Venmo me the $20 and I'll get you into the thing. Just, it sounds like nothing, but it drives me insane that PayPal takes that much of the money.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Everybody
a huge
seems to be getting a cut out of you.
They get a cut out of you. And so, but the only way you can get people to do that is there's a trust factor going on, right? You got to build that trust factor with those people over time.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I'm looking at the time, and they've heard us chat about this, and you know what? And I understand that you're passionate about it, because it is a topic that you just you will feel passionate about. You know, here you go, you pour your heart and soul into creating music, and then somebody's taking, you know, it's like you can't even live off of it. How do you survive? So
well, the big thing also is you only have so much time, so you got to make a choice.
And time is money. Yes,
you got to decide: do I want to try to conquer the streaming services, or do I want to go a different route? And that's the hardest part, because you realize you have to choose one or the other, and then you got to go all in with the one or the other. If I chose that I wanted to be on the streaming services and try to break through on the streaming services, then I'm going to have to spend my entire business model of what I'm focused on and what I'm doing towards that. So you got to make that choice, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But we would love to hear a song. Would you like to hear a song in the chat? Because they've been very patient down there. Okay. And I do appreciate you. I've seen people coming in. I've tried to wave and say hi. Right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being supportive. You know, Michael Tracy is an awesome artist here on TikTok. And if you're not following him already, you should be. Just wait till you hear him sing.
I was going to hook up my entire thing with the microphones and everything, and I've been out of town for 6 days, and all of a sudden I realized all my batteries were dead because I'd unplugged everything. So you're going to get
unplugged. You like unplugged, right, folks? We're going to do unplugged. Strip down. Acoustic.
Falling behind, I ran up ahead, I wallowed in the middle, that seemed the safest bet. I'll tell you a secret, my story's the same. I woke up one day in this world trying to find my way, I did. Till it's time to go, till it's time to go. Cradle grave is all I can promise. Cradle the grave and then I'm gone, long gone. Cradle the grave is all I can promise. Cradle the grave and then I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm gone. Long gone. What more can I do when I'm dusting the ground? Till that day I'll keep trying to push this mountain down. Stand till the end, I'll stand here by you, my brothers and my sisters, and all the work we got left to do, we do. Till it's time to go, well, till it's time to go. Well, cradle the grave is all I can promise. Cradle the grave and then I'm gone, long gone. Cradle the grave is all I can promise. Cradle the grave and then I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm gonna keep my eyes on those beautiful things. I won't sell my soul for a pot of gold. And I'll bend my knee when that church bell rings. Till it's time to go. Well, till it's time to go. Cradle to grave is all I can promise. Cradle to grave, and then I'm gone, long gone. Cradle to grave is all I can promise. Cradle to grave, and then I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm gone. Long gone.
I was long gone a couple times through that. I was tapping so hard. I was tapping out.
That's a new one. That's one that's never that I haven't recorded yet.
That's cool. I like that. So we got the stripped down acoustic version of that.
Yes.
So I need to ask. So when you're songwriting, because you have written a lot of songs, so and you're Gen X. So do you write things down on paper? How do you, when you get inspiration? Yeah. What do you do? How do you put it down? Do you just like do you do something techy like put it?
I knew that was going to be your question because it's the number one question people ask. I was just at a family reunion this week. You know, people when they meet me, they want to know that question answer. Yeah. How does it happen?
Yeah. How do you do it?
Well, there's no right way, but for me, 99% of the time, it's I'm playing the guitar. You know, I play the guitar. I sit down a couple hours every single day. So I'm playing the guitar, and it'll be different whether it's electric or acoustic. And I'll just start. You know, all of a sudden you're playing some riff like I was just doing. And I'll like that. And then what usually happens is. This is where the magic, I guess, is where you can't, it's hard to answer the question, which is where that original idea comes from. That's dancing with the muse. That's where you feel like the thing just came, and then it's usually that one thing, it's that line, it's that idea that then I realize, oh, that's catchy, or oh, that's good, or just think of the Lost Year, I could have just been playing around like that, and all of a sudden went, hello, you, how you been? That enough will make me go, oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, yeah. And then I just go from there. As far as sometimes I have an idea lyrically, and then I come to the music, come to the guitar, but I never write down my lyrics. I've never written down my lyrics until it's time to, I have to when I release it or something. Sometimes if it's late at night or something and I'm playing and I want to really capture something because I'm worried I'll forget about it the next day. If I'll just record it really fast in my phone, But for the most part, I don't do that because I figure if it's any good, I'll remember it. And if I forget it, it probably was worth forgetting.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, Sandy D. So I find myself as a Gen Xer, I'm old school. I write stuff down, but I'm also new school where I record, like you say, like I'll record something real quick, or I'll type it in my phone real quick or on the computer. Right. Like I do a combo because we grew up in a generation where we had to do old school paper and pencil stuff, whatever, that.
Well, and I love writing. I mean, I wasn't even necessarily getting into songwriting. I wanted to be a writer since I was a kid. So I like to write short stories. I love the process of writing and everything. So it's not that I don't like to write. It's just been the way
I can understand if you're getting your inspiration, you're just like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Recording it might be an actual quicker, easier way to capture if you
want. And usually it's also because something changed. Until it's recorded, I'm always working on it. So there's lyrics that change or things that change. So I don't know. Like that song I just played, the whole song, I've never wrote that song down ever. So I don't have a.
Oh, really?
I don't have.
We got to hear an original song that he's never written down.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing that song for a long time. I know it, but I've never put it on paper. I won't put it on paper until I release it and have to.
Until you have to. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the wow. Thank you for putting the wow in there, Em. Wow is right. That is a wow.
And I just think, a lot of people do it differently, but I think the one thing that's always the same is that thing that comes from nowhere. And that's really anything with anything, right? I mean, there's creative people in every field, and like you could have doctors who are all doctors, but then there's that one surgeon who's creative and he's going to discover the new surgical way to do whatever, right?
Outside the box.
Creating something or you know, everyone does coding or is in tech, but that doesn't mean they're all inventing the next app or inventing. That takes a certain creativity. And I think that part is the hard part to explain, because you're just in connection with what's going on in that way. And also, I would argue, you got to put yourself in that place. I mean, you got to have done the work. You got to have spent years specifically in songwriting. You know, I've written and read book. I mean, I've been studying words since I was 5. You know, I mean, this is what I love. Yeah. I love the format. So if I show up every day with my guitar and sit around to do my practice and playing, that's how I got to show up to dance with the muse. I can't just sit around. I call those bedroom songs. They just want something, idea to just flow into them from nowhere, and they don't write nothing until that happens. And you got to show up every day. Willie Nelson, I remember early on watching him, and he says, I write a song every single day.
Yeah, and he's like, when you talk about songwriters, I mean, he's been, woo.
Even though 99% of it's going to get thrown out, you got to show up and do the work.
So when you're songwriting, you know, some of them are going to go, meh, and some, and just maybe out of the one is going to be, that's going to be it, you know?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can answer your question how I do it, but at the end of the day, it's always impossible to explain to people that those lyrics. And that's why you always feel like in some songs, especially if a lot of the song felt like it just was handed to you from this place, you end up feeling like it's not even your song, or you feel like, because you realize I wasn't so smart that I came up with that. Something happened, and then you just feel like you're a conduit from that point, between whatever happened up there and then the people that are going to hear it.
So I have to ask the song, because a little bit 330 here says, "Watch me go, please sing it, it all rocks." Yeah, well, he sang it, but I want to know is "Watch Me Go," because I was going and I had to come back because I was tapping out.
He's right.
Yeah, well,
he's talking about that song off of Still Got Soul, called
Still Got Soul.
No More Waiting.
Okay, yeah, that's an album you did, Still Got Soul. I remember that.
Yeah, well, not the song Still Got Soul. Recently, in the last a couple months, I kind of started posting some videos with a clip of the bridge from the song called No More Waiting.
Oh,
and
okay,
so,
that's it.
And the lyrics go, you know, I mean, if anyone wants to, it's over there with my videos. But, you know, part of the lyrics at the end is "Watch me go." So that's what he's referring to.
Okay, so if you like his music, you just got a sampling here. If you like his music, follow Michael Tracy. Because you can only find 2 songs.
You're not going to find me on Spotify. You're going to find one song, which, by the way, is my Christmas song, "Poinsettia Red." And
Poinsettia Red is great, and that's going to be real soon. We'll be Poinsettia's out, blink our eyes, and we'll be there. But I love that song. It's catchy. But go to his link in his bio. He has a VIP club. You can get his music through Patreon, or you can just do the $20. What is it? The one-time $20, and boom,
and
then
it is available if you want to buy it on iTunes, or just buy a song or whatever. Anywhere where you can buy it, it's available. It's just no longer streaming.
No longer streaming, but you can buy it. Okay,
yeah, other than YouTube, I think you can find it on YouTube, where you might be able to hear a whole length of a song, before you want to buy it, but not the Spotify's and not the Apple Music, and not
because I have Apple, and I pulled it up, and I'm like, well, there's only
he's gone.
Like 2. What happened? He had more than that.
Right.
Okay, but anyway, but that all makes sense, and I knew you had the VIP club, and I thought, well, I'm just going to ask. Yeah, so there we go. Well, we'd love to hear another song. Would you like to hear at least one more song, folks?
Yes, I will. Let's see here.
One more song. Oh, where's he from? He is
Charlotte, North
Carolina. Charlotte area, correct?
Charlotte.
Yeah. And if you follow him, you will know that, because he talks about that in his videos.
Okay, I'll do this song. This is another new one, not released. And to answer your question from before, it's called "Beautiful Things." And this one was kind of interesting because I have a book in my catalog of books called 1001 Beautiful Things. And it's just all these great writings, right? You know, it could be political writings, it could be little poems, just famous writings of beautiful things. But I loved that term, beautiful things. And so I had that in my head for a long time. And then when I started writing this song, that started off with just this first lyric, basically. I used the beautiful things thing, and that's what the song's called. And this is kind of a third person story song.
Ricky grew up in a broken town, but West Virginia couldn't hold him down, so he signed up to see the world fight for Uncle Sam. His mama cried, she said a prayer that he'd be safe, well he'd be spared. Ricky said, I'll be fine, stop your worrying, 'cause I'm gonna keep my eyes on beautiful things. Mama, gonna keep my eyes on beautiful things. Well, 10 years later, Ricky took a wife. Her name was Sarah, had the sweetest smile, and he loved her so much he forgot about the daily grind. They had a son who asked his dad, what's the secret to being a man? And Ricky explained, though life may bite and sting, son, you gotta keep your eyes on beautiful things. Boy, you better keep your eyes on beautiful things. Well, those things that keep you going when walls are crumbling down, and those things that you're holding on to so you don't drown. And once you realize that you might not see beautiful things again, well, that's when you begin living. Well, near the end, Ricky lay in bed, watched his family praying to the dead, and he burst out, I'm not scared, I hear the angels sing. I hear them singing, keep your eyes on beautiful things. The angels sing, keep your eyes on beautiful things. You all better keep your eyes on beautiful things. Well, I'm gonna keep my eyes on beautiful things.
Wow, that is a beautiful song.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So
Yes.
I need to record and release that. So people join the VIP club so I can get in the studio.
Yes. Okay. We need to join the VIP club. I'm going to get on that. Yes. And follow him so we can do that, folks. And I want to thank the 19 people in the room. Thank you for being here. Thank you for
thank you everyone. I haven't had a chance to really see the comments or anything, but thank you.
We haven't been lately. This show hasn't gotten much of a push, and if it wouldn't be for the faithful followers who come in and share, it wouldn't be going anywhere. I'm just
the algorithm's been changing a bit.
It's been changing, and it's not been for people who don't partake in certain things.
Right. That's correct.
Activities.
Correct. That's why I get, people say to me, like fans of mine, you should have more followers. You should have, all this kind of stuff. And I don't care about the top number. I just care that you're finding people and everything. And you can't control the algorithm. Just, again, just show up and do your thing. And that's all you can do.
Thanks. It just, so I want to thank you, the people have been in the room. 22 people in the room. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the shares. Thank you for just being here. Gifts are great. We appreciate it, but definitely, you're spending your time, your day, taking time out of your day. Sometimes it's people's lunch times that will come in.
Right.
And, on Thursdays, like I get it. There's a 4-letter word called work. But you got to make the money somehow. I
always forget that when I go live or do things during the day. I'm always like, oh yeah.
But then
not everyone's a singer-songwriter.
But here's the thing, though. Somewhere in the world, somebody is
eating
for them.
That's correct.
Somebody's off work. Their day's done, and they can enjoy it. So yeah, so if you go on during the day, there's those people too.
Yeah.
Brenda says, wow, love this guy. Abby
Thank
says,
you, Brenda.
amazing.
I appreciate it. I'm finally seeing some comments here that I can be able to see. I don't have my glasses on, so.
Oh, I understand that. What do you think mine are?
I think that's Sean.
Great one today. So, but I open up the chat to people and I let them have, if you all have a question, that's appropriate. I have to do that. The teacher in me has to say that.
Right.
Because I'm a retired teacher. I used to say, if it's appropriate.
Right.
We have to say that. Because, we don't want to get banana down here. Put it down there in the chat. We'll see if we can answer the question. If you have a dire question that you would like to ask our artist, Michael Tracy.
That's the hardest thing in these lives, to get someone to ask a question. That's what I've
Yeah, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But before I forget, I'm like, because I've been known to forget, because my attention goes whoop.
Right.
And so I have to say, if you have a question, put it in there. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's like nobody wants to ask, and some people are like, oh, but you barely get a guest up here, and you start talking, and they're asking a question. Right. I'm like, okay, hold on.
After I usually miss it, because if I don't have my reading glasses on, everything's a blur anyway.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Abby has a question. Michael, will you be performing in the Hickory Music Festival?
No, I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about, but no, I am not in the Hickory Music Festival. I did send them something there at the last minute, but no, I'm not in the Hickory Music Festival. A lot of what I'm doing, just for the next few months, will be a lot of solo acoustic stuff around the Charlotte area. Like I said, it's the holidays, and I'm also getting ready to kind of record and things like that. So, but you can see my show schedule on my website. Someone asked how long you've been singing.
Yeah.
Well, I've only been doing what I do like this since 2011. Despite my old age, I went to my very first open mic. I never was in a band or did anything when I was younger. I got married, so we just had our 31-year anniversary. I was married with kids immediately young. I was in the Navy. And so I've only been doing this since 2011. So 12 years or something like that. Okay. But I was taught guitar when I was 5.
So you're just,
my mom's a singer, and like I said, I really thought I was just going to be a writer. I as much as I loved music and loved singing, and it was a part of our lives. I especially older, I just assumed I'd start writing. So, and I was, and then all of a sudden I just started writing. Started saying the same things over songs, and just fell in love with the craft of writing. The craft of writing songs is different than the craft of writing a poem or a short story or anything like that. And I love it. I love the challenge of the big puzzle piece.
That's cool. I did see a question back a ways ago. There's that delay, Larry was asking, do you play any other instruments?
Not on stage
just
or anything.
Basically guitar, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had piano lessons. My mom sent me to when I was a kid. When I was young in grade school, I was in the chorus, played violin, even did a solo. And I probably could pick up things like the piano if I wanted to put my time into it and everything. But no, the only instrument I play professionally is the guitar.
Is guitar.
And I'm a much better acoustic guitar player than I am an electric guitar player. I mean, that's really
okay. And that's kind of backwards, because I always was told it was, that acoustic is harder.
It is harder.
And if you learn to do acoustic, then you can do electric. And I'm like, okay.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, because they are different instruments in many ways, the way they sit on you, the way they are, and also because you're right, with an acoustic, you got to really push your fingers down and stuff.
you better get some
play it percussively. There's all different things you're doing, right? With the in fact, a lot of times I'll write a song on the acoustic guitar, and if I'm playing it solo a lot, I'll change what I'm doing when I go into a studio. Because the drums are picking up that percussion, or because, or these kinds of things.
Okay.
But the electric guitar, the thing about the electric guitar is it's the opposite. You want to be so soft on it with your hands. You don't want to push hard down. That's why it's easier too when you're first learning, because you don't have to build the calluses up and the pain.
Yeah, because you got to build. Yeah.
But the downside is for me, then, because I've been an acoustic player all my life, I have to then focus when I'm playing the electric guitar. I got to focus on because if you push too hard, it goes out of tune. You cause your strings.
Oh yeah.
and it's also, they're just flimsier strings, you know, so I'm not as, you know, there's many players in town who are so much better than me when they play the electric guitar. But then again, I can do things on the acoustic guitar that they don't, you know, they can't, they don't pick, they don't, that they, you know, because that's not their instrument.
So I have to ask, you have a certain brand?
Well, I know I
guitar that like some people are,
I have Alvarez's,
Martin.
I was just playing Alvarez, a Taylor. I got Martin's.
Taylor, yeah.
So I got different ones. The
so
few I play live, a lot of times, the electric acoustic ones are the Alvarez or the Taylor, but I don't have one specific brand that I'm like, oh, this is it. This is what I play, and that's it. I like to play, you know.
Do you have a certain guitar that you like to go to, like when you're just right. Like whatever, like there's a certain guitar?
Yeah, the one that's in tune.
The one that's in tune. Okay. Like I have a couple guitars. Not well, that like
for instance, I chose this Taylor to play with you now because I knew it had a nice open sound for it doesn't, you know, not plugged in and not mic'd up or anything. I knew that it had kind of this really nice sound like that. Where this Alvarez, it's got a nice, this is probably out of tune, but a nice sound. But this one will sound better plugged in if I'm live.
Okay,
now the Taylor sounds good, but compared to some other ones I got. So it's just, it depends on what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I go through guitars.
Back to my cheap one.
I'll have a guitar for a long time, and all of a sudden I'll just sell it because I want to get something to, you know, so I'm not a gearhead. I'm not a gearhead.
Oh, okay.
I'm just a guy who's trying to find what I like and what the sound I like. I'm not a big gearhead with the pedal board. You know, I play pedal board. You know, I am, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm not. I just want things to sound the way I want them to sound. I'm not. It's kind of like I like to drive a car, but I don't fix cars. I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah.
I just feel like you can only focus. Same reason why I go and I don't record my own music other than demos. You know, yeah, I'm sure if I spent I've been in a lot of studios. I understand I can be a producer in a way, but to actually do the engineering of it all, I early on decided I wasn't going to spend my time learning that craft. I mean, you're already trying to be great at singing, songwriting, playing your guitar, and you're trying to be great at it. And that takes a lot of work. And then the thing is an engineer who's really good, or these guys that are produced, you know, in the studio, they're great at it because that's what they do every day, and they've done it for days and days. Well, why would I make a song with me doing it? I know it's cheaper, I know it's easier, I know all of these things, but at the end of the day, you know, you want to give a good product. You want to give a good product, and again, my fan base and age group, they don't want to hear me do some sort of mumble rap, lo-fi mumble rap.
Yeah.
We are used to, at our age group, of having music and very well produced and very well, well done. Done. You know, as far as even produced, maybe is not the right word, but just well done. We don't want it to sound like it's some demo. Most of us that are our age, because that's not what.
You got some classic
stuff
there.
And that's the same thing. I'm not a gearhead. I got people around me in my band, things like that are gearheads and stuff, but I try to, it's kind of go back to the Spotify thing. You got to really focus on what you're going to spend your time on.
Yeah. Now we have a question from Sean back. Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you get I'm not sure if I understand the question, but I'm going to try it. Can you get the neck of a guitar fixed at the top of it, Michael Tracy? Can you get the neck of a guitar fixed?
You mean here?
I'm assuming. Talking about that? Is that what you're talking about, Sean? I'm sorry.
And I also don't know what we're talking about. A crack, or did you snap it off?
Yeah, did something happen? Did it break? And that's what you're asking about? I'm not sure.
Again,
I don't know.
I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I would be, if I all of a sudden had a crack, I'd be going to someone that I trust to work on my guitar.
I would go find somebody that really
knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually you can fix your guitars, but I don't know what the extent of your damage is.
Yeah, I don't know either. Cousin Homer says he records at home and he likes to send it to Mix and Master works best for him. So yeah, everybody's different.
Well, I love recording, and I have my equipment here. You know, I haven't dropped a ton of money on it. I got a bunch of big, but I have my equipment to make demos, right?
Yeah, demos.
And I love recording at home. And there's a part of me that, and maybe someday I will decide to become better and better at it and spend my hours every day being a great engineer. But because it is convenient. Right?
Yeah, it is. Sean just replied. I saw it. Yes, it snapped off at the top of the guitar.
Oh, well, I don't know. You're going to take that.
You better take that to your nearest guitar place.
There's a chance that no, you can't fix that.
They might know what to do, because
that's right.
That's what I do. I don't even string my guitars. I've tried stringing my own guitars, and that always is.
Oh, you go. Oh, no,
I just take and go fix it. Just fix it.
I go through strings.
Strings for me.
One of my biggest expenses is strings, because I play so much. Even if I'm not performing, I'm playing, and when I'm performing, I'm playing and sweating on them. And I buy now. I am dedicated to Elixir strings.
You
have I'm not sponsored by them, but I have tried all the strings. And at the end of the day, Elixirs are the best one. They last the longest for me and things like that. And even then, that's 3 or 4 days of playing, and I start realizing I might break a string. But those strings are $20 a pop almost. I mean, the Elixirs are like
now, we have a friend here on, some of us in the chat, I know. We have a friend that he gets his online.
Yeah, so do I. I'll order my Elixirs off Amazon.
Yeah, he orders some kind, I forgot the brand. I used to know. But anyway, he orders like a whole, because he's a professional musician, and you know, like you said, you're going to go through them. And
I go through them like crazy.
Yeah, you got to have backups. You can't just put a set on and it's going to be good for a while. No, you better have that set on, plus you better have a couple more ready, and you better know what you're doing, because you're going to break a string, right?
That's right.
So yeah,
changing them out about every 3 or 4. If I play this weekend and I play 3 gigs this week, let's say, if I did, I would change them out and put new strings on at the end of that.
Yeah, and if I was professional, I'd probably have to learn.
Because they're going to be bad. Yeah, because I know the next time there's too much of a chance it's going to break. It's like, I know.
Yeah. I know. So I'm looking at the time. We got about 3 minutes. Could we squeeze one more song from you?
One more, huh? All right.
One more. Otherwise we end early. So it's up to you. What are you feeling?
I'll play whatever you want.
One more song. Would you like? How about y'all in the chat? What would you like? Would you like to hear one more, or you need to go?
I do need to, because I care. I need to tune this string here.
He's going
to heard it out of tune.
M says yes. Song, please. Love to hear one more. One more. One more. One more. That's the verdict. They want another one.
All right.
Okay. Here we go, guys. This last one.
Last one. Let's see. What am I doing here?
I had a dusty childhood, hanging on handlebars, flying home. As the evening turned gold, lost and gone, those days I was young, those memories that'll remind me I had a dusty childhood, 20th century in my bones. Dusty childhood, played outside, I drank from the hose. Dusty childhood, if daddy were rich then I'd had missed my dusty childhood. And someday I'll return to that dust where I come from. I had scabs on my knees from holes in my jeans. Mama would iron on patches. She's now gone with the wind. We had a willow tree, and I'd swing in the breeze, barefoot and tan, dirt on my hands when I had a dusty childhood, 20th century in my bones, dusty childhood, played outside, drank from the hose, dusty childhood. If Daddy were rich, then I'd had missed my dusty childhood. And someday I'll return to that dust where I come from. Well, from a time not too long ago, those analog days, so sweet, so slow. The past don't last, never again to be seen. But it's been a blast, you know what I mean. 'Cause we had a dusty childhood, and we're all hanging on to that dusty childhood, 20th century in my bones, dusty childhood. We played outside, we drank from the hose, dusty childhood. If Daddy were rich, then I'd had missed my dusty childhood. Oh, dusty childhood. Kick that can till the sun went down. Dusty childhood. Cities, towns, and those small towns. Dusty childhood. There's one thing to unite around, it's our dusty childhood. 'Cause someday we return to that dust we all come from. Dusty childhood, dusty childhood.
That's another new one that's not recorded.
Wow. I don't know about people down the chat, but I can really relate to that song.
Yeah, that's actually the most recent one I've kind of wrote.
If you're a Gen Xer, definitely, yeah. You talk about the dusty childhood, and and yeah.
Again, kind of back to your question of how things come to you. That term came to me. I was thinking about my mother passed away recently in the last few years, and we've had some other people in the family pass away. And I'm the oldest of 6 children, and we grew up on farms when I was young.
Oh yeah,
and I was thinking about how, within your family, there's always going to be one last person standing, right? Yeah. and also, when we're children and when we're child, we only have a few people we interact with. Our parents, that are in our lives for the most part, our brothers and sisters and things. And it dawned on me, and when I realized that as each person goes away or dies, like my mother passed away, it's like that part of your life is, it's that. And then I started thinking about, well, what happens what if I was the last one standing, right? And all my parents had died, my brothers and sisters had died, right. And everyone who had died who spent those 12 years on those farms with me in those memories, right? Then it's almost like it disappeared, and everything's turned to dust. Yeah. And then I started thinking, because the terms, we return to dust. And then I started thinking, well, kind of for all of us, and especially in that age group from back in the day compared to today, it just seems like everything was dusty. It's just a dusty childhood. You don't have to go on a farm. You could, and I lived in many different places growing up, so I had different experiences. It didn't matter whether you were in the city or a small town, or there's just something about that era that seems dusty. And so that's so that's kind of the photographs,
especially during harvest season. It's very dusty.
Yeah, so that's how that song kind of came to be.
Yeah, well, I loved it. I thank you so much for being here, Michael. I really appreciate you being here. And again, one last time to everyone, if you're not following Michael Tracy, you need to, because he is an awesome person. He's an awesome artist, musician. He has his VIP club. You can join that if you want to listen more to his music. We got to hear some originals. Just they haven't been recorded today. Yep. He just stripped down acoustic, just him and the guitar. Thank you for letting us be in your home today.
Well, thank you for having me, everybody.
Love the voice, and he's writing some great songs. He's an awesome person. So on that note, what we do is I play the theme song out.
Yep.
And thank you everyone again for all the likes and all that good stuff. Thank you. I really thank you. We'll play the theme song out. It's very short. And then it's the bye-bye. We tell them bye. We got to give them a few seconds in the chat, say bye, and then we'll end the show. Okay? So that's how we do it. That's how we do it around here. Thank you. And here's the theme song. Great job in interview. Oh, well, thank you, Cousin Homer. You're going to be up on later in a couple weeks. I think it's like 2 weeks. Yeah.
The Iron
Tuesday at 8 p.m. Yes. Tuesday at 8 p.m. I think Morden, yeah, he's going to be on. Yes. And then Piano Jordan's going to be next Thursday. Yes. I think that's on my schedule. I'm going from memory. You know how my memory is. Squirrel. Take care, all, M says. Little Ironhead, take care, see ya. Abby says. I used to use this song at school. Tell me bye. Go catch the bus. I just give it. Take care, everyone. Sean says. Yeah, and take care of that guitar. Yes. Here we go. This is where we're going to count down. Tell them bye. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're on.
Bye.
Well, maybe.